Makeup is something that I am so passionate about. I love doing it, I love wearing it, I feel so confident wearing it, but I never really share it too much on this channel. Most of the time you see me without makeup, a bare face, which I'm also confident to wear. I'm happy to go out without makeup on, but I also love wearing makeup even more. It's just getting that energy to put it actually on your face, and also wearing it, no matter how good your application is, you know it's there. It's a little bit uncomfortable towards the end of the day, and I'm one of those, on my days off from work, I want to chill, I want to be comfortable. Wearing makeup just isn't on my priority list, which is a shame, and I want to make it on my priority list in the next coming months. So today I'm going to do a full face of makeup. Don't really know what avenue I'm going to go down today with my makeup, but we'll go with the flow, we'll see what happens. I do have my full kit of makeup out here in front of me, so we could really literally do anything today. So let's get started. Just generally at the same time, I thought I would just have a little chin wag with you, just sort of say whatever's on my mind, and we'll just have a little bit of girl time, because girl time, you just can't beat it. To start off with, I am going to use my Bondi Sands SPF 50. So I actually went to Barbados the other day and I wore just this on my face, and I used sun cream everywhere else. Let me tell you, everywhere else burnt on my body apart from my face. So that kind of tells you how good this product is. I do put quite a bit on because I just love the feeling of it. It's just really nice and moisturising, but at the same time, you know it's not really there at the same time as knowing it's there. It just doesn't feel heavy on your skin whatsoever. And if you're wondering, my skin type is oily in the T-zone and kind of normal everywhere else. It doesn't leave a white cast either, which we know can be a little bit of an issue when it comes to SPF, but this one is fabulous. Works really well with my skin type, and also works really well with the products that I'm about to use as well. I also bring that product down my neck as well, so we don't forget about her. I love how this SPF doesn't make my skin tacky as well. As you can see, it's not tacky in the slightest, soaks in really quickly. One thing I used to suffer with when I was a kid was eczema, and when I actually applied for my airline, we actually had to give in our medical records just to show if we had any medical history and anything that they needed to know about. One thing I noticed as a note on there was, Chloe doesn't like sticky moisturisers for her eczema, so please ensure she doesn't get sticky moisturisers and creams prescribed to her. I was like, yeah, that is me all over. I hate anything that feels sticky on my skin to this day. Even 4-5-year-old Chloe hated it too. So because of that, I love how this just isn't sticky, soaks in so quickly. It's just really, really good, and I've been using it for over a year now. One topic that I really want to touch on in this video specifically about me personally, and I know a lot of you will probably have gone through this as well. I don't want to say I'm like the beacon of knowledge with this, but I'm quite knowledgeable in the topic because of what I went through, and that is acne, which you'll see on my chin. We've got a few breakouts going on. But basically, when I was a teenager, entering my teenage years and entering puberty, I was about 13, 14 at the time, my skin just broke out. And between the ages of 13 and I'd say 15, 16, my skin was awful. I don't even know if I have pictures anywhere because I just refused to have my photo taken. I was so unconfident. I was so shy in school because I just thought that was what everyone was looking at, which probably wasn't the case, but to me, as a young girl, that was all I was thinking about, trying to cover my skin as much as I possibly could. School was getting in the way because they were like, no, you can't wear makeup, you can only wear minimal makeup, and it was awful. It was an awful time in my life, and I only look at my school years as being bad because of that. I tried everything under the sun to get my acne under control, and that was from anything at the pharmacy, anything at Boots, anything at Superdrug, stores like that, anything my doctor prescribed me. I even went to my doctor in the end, the dermatologist. They put me on a series of pills. They didn't work, not the contraceptive pill though at that time. And then they also prescribed me some skin creams. None of them worked. The only thing that has ever worked for my skin is the contraceptive pill. That's not the case for everyone. Everyone's skin is so different. Everyone's skin will react differently to different things, but for me personally, the only thing that worked to control my acne was the contraceptive pill. The first one they put me on was a contraceptive pill called Dianette, which I'm actually on to this day. Not always been on it, but it only took a lot of force to my doctor to say to them, look, no other pill you're trying me on is working. So they tried to get me off Dianette after probably a year because they said it's quite a strong version of the pill and they want to try and get me on a different form of the contraceptive pill. Does the same thing, but it's just a less intense version of it, basically. So I tried a series of pills. We know the ones, Yasmin, Desogestrel, none of them worked for me. Every single other pill that I tried gave me a different symptom, whether that was acne on my chest, acne on my back, whether that adjusted my mood swings in a negative way, made me feel really depressed, made me put on quite a little bit of weight in certain areas of my body, like my face really puffed out, and just each symptom was making me feel unconfident in a different way. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to, so it took me a lot of force to say to my doctor, look, put me back on Dianette. It's the only one that's made me feel good, the only one that I know has 100% worked for me. I know it's expensive for the NHS, but at the end of the day, you have to do what works for you. So they did in the end. They actually put me back on Dianette, and to this day, my skin, everywhere on my body, all of my symptoms have been massively controlled, and I'm so grateful for that. That's kind of my history with acne, and when I get little breakouts like this, it just sort of takes me back to that time, and I'm just like, oh my god, I need to cover them, which may be a reason why I'm doing this video today. I did plan on putting some makeup on today anyway, because I actually do have a meeting that I need to do shortly. So that's my little journey with acne and how I got over it. And as I say, everyone's journey is very different when it comes to acne. Not everyone suffers with acne, and if that is you, I'm very jealous. But today we're dealing with it, and I actually think there is one major factor that has caused this. Vic mentioned maybe it's sort of the change of weather, because in the UK it's starting to get a little bit warmer. Obviously the season's changing, but I also think maybe it's a little bit of a factor with the exposure to sun that I had in Barbados, or this. I actually managed to find this product in Primark. So this is the PS Prep and Set Vitamin Enriched Moisturising Primer. That is a mouthful. It's £4.50 in Primark. Saw it all over TikTok, was jealous, wanted to get it. Finally found it when I went to Edinburgh. I popped into Primark there to see if they had it, and they did. They had loads in there, by the way, so if you live in that area, go and grab some. The only thing is, I think it's caused this, which I'm very gutted about, because I loved how this felt on my skin. It's supposed to be a dupe for a Bobbi Brown product. I can't really compare it because I've never tried that product before, but it's supposed to be. So I hope this works for you. Unfortunately, I don't think it does for me. Maybe I can try it again in the future and see if it does, but that's quite a sad little mention in this video that I'm very gutted about, really. But instead, I do use a different primer, which I know absolutely works for me, that is still drugstore, and that's the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, which I have been using and loving for probably a good 6 months now. I know this doesn't break me out, and blimmin' heck does it keep your foundation on all day. I've just done my eyebrows off camera, which I think most people do that do makeup videos, and I get why. The reason why is because it's such a dull step. It takes so long, and I'd rather just tell you what I've done rather than take forever to show you. And I'm all up here, up and close and personal with my mirror, basically making out with it, trying to get my eyebrows to look like twins, when we all know, say it with me, they're sisters, not twins. Eyebrow routines. I have two routines. The first one I do for work, which is a basic, simple eyebrow. Just fill them in where they're very sparse. I like to just have them very slick. So I basically use my ABH Dip Brow Pomade in shade Taupe to fill them in, and then I carve them out with a concealer. I also love the soap brows, which I tend to do more so at home. I have trialed them on flights, but I tend to notice they do go a little bit crusty no matter what product I use. Whereas at home, because it's not so much of a dry environment, they tend to just stay put, and that's why I like it at home. So this one is probably my favourite of the two, does take the longest, and the two products I use for this is the Pink Honey Honey Glue and the ABH Brow Pen. Have to say, I think I will not be repurchasing this again. The reason I won't be repurchasing this again is because I know NYX do pretty much the same thing. And why would I pay £20 for a pen when I can pay a fraction of the price to get another pen that does exactly the same? Plus my eyebrows are a very weird colour. They are like a grey colour, and trying to get a colour that matches well is so hard. This has been the closest so far, but even this colour I feel like is a little bit too brown for me. I need more of a cooler toned pen rather than a warmer toned, which this one is. So I'm just kind of using it until it runs out at this point. These brows I don't tend to carve out unless I am doing eyeshadow, which I don't know if I'm going to do today. I might just do a wing liner, which is my safe zone. So I think I'll just do what I know and love. Right, I've got an hour to do a full face of makeup, and I've already got a ton of eyeshadow all over my leg. That's great. You don't need to tell me, I know my eyes are very dark in colour. It's because of my lifestyle, that's pretty much it, and my very broken sleep pattern. So just to hide those bad boys, I'm gonna cover those up with the P. Louise base. I basically just pop this all over my lids, not for the purpose of eyeshadow, and then I set that with a pressed powder or even a light eyeshadow just to keep that in place and stop it creasing. I know you're probably thinking, that is very old P. Louise packaging. You will be correct, my friend. I've had this for a bloody long time. I have just noticed it does say used within 12 months from when you open it, but it still works. Why would I throw out a perfectly good product? This is in shade 1 because I'm a pale biatch. And then I just use my very dirty damp beauty blender. Please don't be fooled. It's not like dirty. It's just very badly stained. I do wash these on the regular. I just throw them in some socks in my washing just to get the worst of the product off, and then they're good as new. See what that's done? Like, that's just instantly woken me right up. Now that's all blended in, I'm just going to use Casket Ready, which is this shade here from the Cremated palette by Jeffree Star, just because it's the one I've got in my hand right now. And I'm going to use this Real Techniques blending brush. I cannot say things very well when they're alliterated. If you don't know me already and haven't seen them in the background of my videos, I have a vast collection of Jeffree Star's eyeshadow palettes. I love them with my heart. They are my babies, and I really don't ever see the need to purchase any other palettes because these are just so good and so reliable. I know they're going to work every time and they blend like a dream. So I have loved winged liner for probably about 10 years now. I absolutely perfected it in my teenage years. I did it every day, and I don't know how I ever got the energy to wake up every day before college, before school, to do perfect winged liner. So let's do some trusty old winged liner. And the product that I have used for probably the same time, 10 years, is the Maybelline Hyper Precise Liquid Liner. So this is in a felt tip form. I just find I have a whole lot more control than, say, with a potted liquid liner or in a smaller pot where you use a brush. I just don't feel like I have as much control that way. I'm sure you can get a lot more of an opaque liner with those products, but I'm just quite happy with the result that this one gives. And this is only about £5–6 from Superdrug. You cannot go wrong with this product. I love it. And I have to say, I might regret doing wing liner on camera because, oh, the pressure. I've just really shocked myself. I did that in less than 5 minutes, which is a massive achievement. The one problem I always have with my eyeliner, Vic always notices it and points it out every time. I always do one longer than the other. And with my eyeliner, it's not a sisters, not twins situation. They are twins, not sisters. They have to match evenly. And when I go out and he tells me, oh yeah, they're not even, I'm like, Now moving on to my skin, which doesn't take me too long, which is hopefully the case today. And we are starting with the trusty e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, as I mentioned earlier. I don't tend to pop too much on, just a little bit on my cheeks and a tiny bit on my forehead and my chin. And I just kind of rub that in, not too much because I don't don't not focus now, this is important. Sort of tap it in, rub it a little bit, and then I tap it in just so it's still there. I find if I rub it too much, I kind of lose the product very quickly as it soaks into my skin too much. But yeah, just by tapping it, I find that works best for me, especially around my nose and like the crevices that I really want the product to grip into, like my smile lines, anywhere you know your product creases, tap it in there. One place in particular that I really like to focus my makeup on is around my nose, because I wear glasses and I'm sure a lot of you do the same as well. And makeup just doesn't survive in that area. There's most of the time no way to kind of combat that, but I do as much as I can to try and keep the product in place. And primer is one of those things. Look how tacky that is. That is what we want. I've actually never done this before, but I'm gonna try and like spot conceal, which I've seen people do before on TikTok when they've got blemishes that they really want to hide. I don't actually have a pot concealer. I really want to get one at some point. I was looking at the Nars one, but there is also another one, I think from Pink Honey, that I more am keen to try because I much more prefer drugstore makeup. But for now, I'm just going to stick to this Juvia Place I Am Magic Concealer and just pop that on there. I don't even know if I'm going to rub that in. I might just let that sort of sit down and dry, and then once that's all dry and ready to go, I can pop the foundation on top, and hopefully that really masks those spots and you can then technically only see the texture of them. I don't know if it's going to help, but God loves a trier. One thing that I will fork out the money for when it comes to makeup is foundation, purely because my skin is so temperamental with foundation. I've tried so many, I've got so many down here that I've tried that I thought I loved at the time, and then the more I've tried it I've not liked, some that I've tried instantly that I've not liked, some that seem to sit really well for the first few hours, and then by the end of the day they literally flick a switch and they're oily, and I just don't like that feeling at all. Of course we have the backup of powder and we can touch up throughout the day, but with my job I don't really have that time, so I need a foundation that I can rely on. So today I'm using Nars. I feel like you see a lot of people out there use the Nars foundation when they've got oily skin, and I've been trying it lately. I actually bought this in duty free, so it was about £30, which I think for a foundation is a sort of average price. A goodish price for a more high-end foundation, I guess, but everyone's judgment is different. I won't really spend any more than £30 on a foundation, I won't lie. I don't really see the point. But this one I've really been liking at the moment. I've really enjoyed it. I've not really had to touch up frequently, and it does kind of suck up the oils that my skin creates throughout the day to kind of make my skin look still good, but not shiny. I'm not a dewy person. I wish I was. I wish I liked the dewy trend, but I'm not a dewy skin person at all. I don't like that feeling. I don't really like that look on me. I love it on other people though. So today, Nars it is. The shade I use, I think is actually their lightest one, shock, and that's Mont Blanc. Oh no, I think they might have one lighter than this, but they didn't have it in store. But the one that I use anyway is Mont Blanc. As you can see, a little does go a very long way with this foundation. One thing I really do look out for when it comes to testing new foundations is how much I need to put on compared to the result I want. So I'm a full coverage girl through and through. I don't like my natural skin to show through. If I'm wearing foundation, I want it to look like I'm wearing foundation. So putting on a little bit, like I just did, and achieving such a full coverage result literally makes me so warm inside. I love it so much. I always find it really challenging putting foundation on my forehead once my brows are already done. So what I tend to do is just blend that in as much as I possibly can. I then go in with this Real Techniques brush, which is a expert concealer brush, and then I sort of tap around my brows to make sure that everything is nice and seamlessly blended together. I'm also really sorry, whenever I put the eyeshadow palette in frame, it focuses on Jeffree more than me, which might be a good thing. So for my eyes, I just pop the tiniest little dab just on the little sections where you can see a tiny little bit of discoloration still, and then anywhere else I really need it. I did used to put concealer all around the corners of my nose, but I soon found out the less product you put around your nose, the the less it's actually going to come off. So all you need to really do is just blend any excess foundation that you've got on your brush or on your sponge, and that should pretty much do the trick. So a little dot, and then just pop a tiny little bit back on those blemishes, because I don't think my technique worked as well as it should have done. Definitely by my next video I need to purchase a pot concealer, because that technique didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would, and I definitely think I need more of a thicker pot concealer for whenever I get breakouts in the future. Plus it's exciting trying new makeup products. It's something I love doing, absolutely love doing. I love doing it myself, love watching it as well. Now the question is, how many times is it going to take for me to say this product? Let's give it a go, because it always takes me a good few attempts. This is the BFF Bronzing Face Frosting. Gotta say it slow. And it's in the shade Mocha. Love this product. I did start using it for work. However, I was very concerned that I would get through this product very quick and then not being able to repurchase it, because we all know how quickly these have sold out when they've been on TikTok Shop, and that is very, very quickly. So I was very cautious about that, and I wanted to get an alternative that I could use at work that wasn't so expensive, that worked just as well as this. I mean, you saw how seamlessly that blended into my skin. We all know it and we all love it. So an alternative that I picked up, that I actually got a little bit of inspiration from Jordan Lipscomb, who I blimmin' love. She's amazing. And she goes on about every single time the PS contour stick. This is in the shade Toffee. I've tried this a few times. I even dropped it in the bathroom the other day when I was doing my makeup, so kind of gutted, but also at the same time not, because these are only £2.50. Oh my god, these are incredible. It depends which Primark stock them, because I don't think my local one does. So anytime I do a domestic night stop here in the UK, I run to the local Primark and I stock up on these. So this is honestly amazing. Go and get your hands on it if you have a Primark near you. But while I'm at home, I do treat myself to a little bit of bronzing face frosting, because she's cute. She's blimmin' cute and I love her. So I pretty much just start on my cheeks and just work that small amount of product all the way up into my forehead as well. And that just tiny little dab is all I need. One dab for each side I find works a trick. And I also pop a little bit on my nose as well. The one thing about the bronzing face frosting is no matter how much you blend, the product doesn't really go, it's still there. For liquid blush, it's just got to be Rare Beauty, hasn't it? I don't think I really need to say much about this product, do I? Because I'm sure you've heard enough from many other, a lot better and a lot more experienced makeup artists than me here on social media. But this blends like a dream, it looks like a dream, it is a dream. And for £20, I think it's such an affordable liquid blush that just works perfectly. Like that, Selena, Team Selena. For you pale girlies out there, shade Grace is a match made in heaven. The brush I was using was literally just this unicorn one, which I got years ago, just from like a random pack I found on Amazon. I know brushes do really matter and I probably should invest in some better brushes, but they work for me. For my powder, which is probably the most important step for me in making my face look good and feel good, I am actually going to use the Trigwell Powder Puff, which is also dirty. I think I need to just sit down and clean all of my makeup applicators, because this is getting a bit embarrassing now. And then the product that I use for my face powder is the Loose Fit Me Maybelline setting powder. It is kind of unfair for me to use this in this video, because those of you from the UK, I don't think you can get this. I think this is US exclusive. We only have the pressed one, but I think the pressed one is just as good from what I've heard. But I'm a loose powder kind of girl. I love loose powders so much. I just feel like they set your face for a lot longer and just give you that seamless blend. Just brings everything together. So I take a small patch and I just press that into the corners of my eye and just keep blending. Bring that down to my nose. Just to really focus on the parts of my face that are going to crease and get most oily, which is my T-zone. I kind of use my wing liner as a bit of a direction on my placement. Pop some in my smile lines, on my chin. I've tried brushes to apply pressed powder in the past, but I just feel like it just makes the powder just sit on my face. It doesn't actually push it into my skin and really work with the product. So for that reason, I much prefer a puff like this. So for the final few steps, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in shade Fair. I've hit pan massively. I do have another one ready to go though, but I love this colour. Again, if you're a pale skin girly like me, you'll love this so much, and it does last a long time. Once you buy this, you can just buy the refills then, which is exactly what I've done, which I think is amazing. I then just pop that in the places that I put the liquid bronzer from Pink Honey and just set all of that in place. Just doing that means that you're not doubling up the product where you don't need it. Oh, didn't mean to do that. For blush, I'm using the Nars blush in the shade Orgasm, and I've just stuck my finger in there, as you can see. This one's quite opaque, so you only need the tiniest little bit, as you can kind of see there. If you find you create a bit too harsh of a line there, you can just go back in with your powder puff and that should sort it right out. What I also love about this blush as well, it's kind of got a bit of a glow to it, so highlighter is kind of covered at the same time. I'm not too big on highlighter. I used to be massively, but I just went off of it overnight. To set everything in place, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Why do I buy makeup products that are just such a mouthful to say? I do it to myself, don't I? I have a very love-hate relationship with my eyelashes. Love the fact that they are so long in length. Hate the fact that they're just dead straight. They do not want to move. I am actually going to trial a lash lift for my holiday in June. I've actually got that booked in with my nail tech, who also does lashes as well. She does, like, I think Russians, hybrids, I don't really know the technical terms, but I think that's what she does. I'm not a big fan of those. And yes, they would be easy to just have them for work, but I just don't think they'd suit me in the slightest because I've got such like a dainty face. So for that reason, I just stick to mascara. I also don't really apply lashes in general anyway. I've tried them before and I just don't think I'm applying them right, and I just rather stick to mascara, which I'm comfortable with. So to try and get the most out of my lashes, I use these Tweezerman eyelash curlers, and I just try and grab as many lashes as possible because some do escape sometimes, and I will just sit there for a good minute just to let it do its thing, because this eyelash curler works a dream. If you think you're done, you're probably not. Just keep it there for as long as you can possibly handle it. Once that's done, you can see they're nice and lifted. Go in with your mascara of choice, which today and every day is my favourite, Maybelline Sky High Mascara in Cosmic Black, and just catch them while they're still nice and lifted. Honestly though, the biggest pain in the butt on my whole face is my bottom lashes. I've just done them, but they are just so long that whenever I put mascara on, it just transfers to my lower eye and it's so irritating. So one tip that I've picked up from social media in the past is to get a spoolie and just rub that off once it's dry, and it just takes any unwanted mascara off your skin like that. It's a really, really good tip. I do like quite thick full lashes, so I'll go in with a few coats each side just to make sure I'm happy. And to finish off my look, my lips. I'm very, very easy. I don't fanny around too much with my lips. I think it's because it's the last step. I'm like, I just want to be done with it now. I put so much effort into the rest of my face. My lips is kind of an afterthought, and I just don't really have much of a lip anyway to work with. So for my lips, I tend to just use this colour as my like go-to, and that's the Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lipstick in shade Mannequin. Again, a shout out for the pale girlies out there. This shade works like a dream. It took me so long to try and find a nude lip that worked well with my skin, and this, I don't think I'll ever change from it. It literally goes on like butter. Well, that is my finished, I would say, everyday makeup routine. It's the makeup routine I go for when I really don't know what I want to do. It's normally the routine I go for when I plan to do something a bit more glam or a bit more out there, and I'm like, nah, let's put that to one side, we'll do that another day, and this is my go-to. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my little everyday makeup routine and also just sharing my passion for makeup with me, because I love it so much and I love being able to share it with you guys online as well. If you want to see more makeup videos from me, if you love makeup just as much as I do, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love, love, love to carry on doing this kind of thing for you guys as long as you enjoy it. Love you loads, and I will see you in my next video.